Today's part of our Business Spotlight program. I'm with Yitian Chen. He's a co-founder of Inspire. They're based in Dublin, but with a global reach. So over to you, Yitian. What is it you do, and for how long have you been doing it?
Thanks for having me here, Kevin. So my startup is called Inspire, which is an AI SaaS startup. For those who don't know SaaS, it's software as a service, and it is an AI-powered podcast platform that allows people to listen to podcasts whilst also allowing them to remember what they've actually listened to. And something really interesting we've discovered is that people only remember about 10% of what they've listened to in a podcast after 24 hours. So, in order to solve this problem, we designed a system where the AI does the job of transcribing the podcast into text, summarizing them, and presenting to the user in a network structure. So once the user listens to the podcast, after that, they have the option to view a network graph of everything they know in sort of like a knowledge network. And we've started this business back in June this year, which is very recent. It's only been 4 months. And my co-founders are currently based in Ireland, the UK, the Netherlands, and in New Zealand. So we have quite a global reach. And currently we're developing the MVP for this to be in the market in the coming months.
Fantastic, fantastic. Okay. And who would be the market for it? Would it be fairly broad market, I would imagine, is it? Or,
Yes, we would imagine this market would be anyone who listens to podcasts. So,
well,
it could be someone who's a kid, maybe 8 years old, or someone who's 20 years old, just getting started in their career, or someone who's retired, enjoying their time in life, just listening to podcasts for fun. And based on the current statistics, there are around 500 million habitual podcast listeners around the world. And so this is a huge global reach, and we expect this number to rise significantly in the coming years with more internet-based content diffusion. And so, yeah, it would be people from the age of possibly 8 to 80.
fantastic. And for our viewers, MVP stands for.
Yeah, so it's minimum viable product. It's basically like a beta test product
Mhm.
that has minimum number of features, and that's what business do before they make the full entire product.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, I suppose you're kind of going from a standing start to growing at this stage. Uh, and the growth that you've had so far, I mean, you talked about the different areas. What has fueled that growth or helped you with that growth?
Yeah, so in terms of the numbers, we essentially look at the number of user signups on our website,
Hmm.
which you can go on to now. It's at inspire.lol.lo. And we chose this domain mainly geared towards the younger Gen Z users, where it's fun, it's dynamic, people will click into this link. And apart from that, we also gain our insights from analytics, both on our website and on the social media that we run on LinkedIn and Instagram and TikTok. And apart from that, we also look at the VC attention, so attention from venture capitalists, people who want to invest in early startups.
Hmm.
Because as I've mentioned before, our industry is SaaS, AI SaaS, which has a global reach, and so it has a really high scalability,
Oh, okay, fantastic. So yeah, you could be looking at massive growth in here, which would be, of course, attractive to the VCs.
of course.
Um, I suppose the next question, I know how relevant it is, but if you had to start from square one in business again, would you do anything differently?
That's a very interesting question because this is the first business I've started.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Um, but upon reflection, I think if I were to start again, I might focus on marketing more. Because with AI SaaS, it's not really about the product itself that sells. Of course, the product has to be good. Users have to love the product in order for us to sell it to users. But it's also important to look at the UI and UX, so user interface and user experience. Because ultimately, with SaaS, it's about uh, the user experience, the user actually using the app rather than just being engaged with the concept on social media and online. And we've taken significant strides in improving the user interface in our beta app that we released to early waitlist users.
Hmm.
And we've taken into their feedback and are currently developing a new version of this app to trial run.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Um, and I know that you have employees at the moment, but what are your biggest learnings have been as an employer or putting a team together, I suppose, since you began in business?
Yeah. So it really comes down to how efficient we have to be as startups. Because as AI SaaS startups, we're not only limited in funding, but we're constantly threatened by other larger corporations, which has far more resources than we do, um, competing with us. For example, Spotify and
Hmm.
other podcast platforms, and we have to sort of create a moat to protect ourselves against them.
Hmm.
Um, and in doing that, we realized that we have to develop something that larger corporations wouldn't do. And in our case with Inspire, we're incorporating AI not only in summarizing the content, but also generating a knowledge map. And this is something that larger corporations wouldn't do because uh, our business is pivoted towards a very specific area of podcasts,
Hmm.
which is about growth, personal development, and for those people who want to use podcasts as a learning tool, having that knowledge network will be incredibly useful. And apart from the moat we've created to protect ourselves, we also realized that we need to be way more productive and way more efficient with the limited funding we have. Because imagine, say, a startup has 10,000 euros in cash compared to an established company which has, say, 10 million, 100 million funds available. We need to at least 10x our productivity in order to compete with those companies. And so the way we achieve that is, of course, using AI. And now it really comes down to how productive AI can be when utilized in business. So, for example, with our software development, we have heavily invested in buying OpenAI APIs to assist with our coding. Of course, we don't support the idea of having vibe coding tools generating an entire code database for us, but we treat AI as supplement to our workforce, which is far more cheaper than hiring, uh, let's say, 10, 20 programmers when we can have just three programmers with a very effective and productive AI system in place.
Fantastic. Yeah, AI is definitely the buzzword since ChatGPT. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but AI has been around since 1959. But I think ChatGPT was a massive marketing, sending it out for free and then charging it to upgrade.
Of
Uh,
course, yeah. It's
yeah,
their marketing success as well, because before AI is mostly used in research and B2B. However, since the launch of GPT-3 in December of 2022, ordinary users like us can interact with AI tools, and this drastically expands the marketplace.
yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, it's a fascinating one. I'm on a steep learning curve on it. I wouldn't claim to be a techie in any manner or form, but at the same time, I'm seeing it coming into with my clients more and more, and we're just getting clients to kind of almost play with it, get to understand it, see where where you can save money, where you can be more effective with your website, and it goes on. I mean, they probably invented a few AI tools since we started talking. I mean, it's coming out at a rate of knots. But
Of
yeah,
course.
fantastic. Um, the other one then is, I suppose, how do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business?
Yeah, this is a great question and something that all founders need to answer. Well, for me, I'm currently studying engineering at the University of Cambridge, so it's quite a lot of workload to manage. Being at the university, I average 8 hours studying time, 8 hours sleep time, and there's 8 hours of time to do anything we want to do. And so definitely managing time is essential for a successful startup. And we do this by having weekly meetings
Mhm.
to delegate tasks to new people and review our goals from previous weeks and to summarize where has gone right, where we need to improve on, and essentially just to have a platform where everyone in the team can contribute to. And this is especially true for early stage startups where we employ a very flat organization surface where there's no real hierarchy there. Anyone could come in from the team to suggest new ideas. And this is exactly how we're more agile than those established corporations,
Yeah,
especially in the age of AI.
yeah, yeah, fantastic. Um, and you probably touched on it a bit, but what qualities do you look for in employees, and how do you foster a positive and productive work environment? I think you kind of covered a bit of that there, but maybe just to reiterate, maybe.
Yeah, sure. So coming to our hiring policy, of course, I employ something called the Merit Excellence Intelligence Framework,
Wow.
which basically means when we select people, obviously we want pe the most talented people possible for the specific role. We don't look at anything else. We don't discriminate against race, gender, religion, whatever. We we only select roles based on the person's fit for that role and how good that person is and whether that person will have achieve his or her maximum potential within that role. Um, and s- and apart from that, we also look at people who generally bring clarity to the team. So an example of that would be if you've got two people who are both talented, who are both are really dedicated to the roles, we would select the one who brings more clarity rather than um, in, infusing the team with technical jargons and ambiguity. So we definitely want people who, brings the team together in a very positive atmosphere. And coming back to the fact that we're a startup, we're very results focused. So compared to like established corporations like Spotify, um, which potentially spends tens of millions of euros, just exploring other different sectors and other innovation points. We're very results focused. So because we have very limited funding, we have to make sure that every euro we spent are worth it, and that the results and that the goals we set people must be achieved by a certain deadline, and we're very strict on that.
Fantastic, fantastic. Um, and maybe just to round off, Yitian, what are some common misconceptions about running a business, and how do you address them? Have you come across anything that like that yet, I wonder?
Yeah, certainly. One of the first things is people normally have the misconception that running a business takes a lot of risks, right? Um, which is becoming less of an issue for at least for our sector, like AI SaaS companies. we tend to take in venture capitalist investment rather than having a large chunk of our funding coming from ourselves, like bootstrapping. And apart from that, I think it's also even if a business idea fails, of course we don't want it to fail and we'll do everything to avoid failing. But if it comes to a point where this business idea does not work or the business fails, I think it's also important to view it as more of a learning experience rather than something that's like a once off, one for all failure.
Mhm.
Um, Maybe it comes back to the fact that most people on our teams are current university students, so we still have many, many years in the future. So definitely take it as a learning experience, not as a single once-off failure. Apart from that, another misconception is that you need a lot of money and a lot of funding in order to bring an idea into action, to implement it. However, as I've touched on previously, uh, with the advent of AI, it has become like easier than ever to transform an idea into a product, especially in the future with AI agents, which is like AI chatbots, but that but which can act autonomously on tasks. With that, it's easier than ever to turn like an idea into, for example, code and then turn into product. And so definitely, I think for startups, we tend to focus on where we can cut costs, and one of those areas is through using AI. And of course, this isn't related that much to misconceptions, but another question that people might ask is whether using AI in business will replace human beings.
Yeah, well, that's the press
Yeah.
love that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And from as someone who has run a business, who's currently running a business, I think AI probably will not replace human beings completely. Because from a business point of view, using AI, we can treat AI as, say, a computer or a machine that improves the efficiency, but we can't like absolutely 100% rely on AI because of course there are hallucinations, etc. And so it's imperative that we definitely have to like keep a human working force at least to like supervise the AI. And with this reason, I believe that AI will not replace human beings.
Fantastic, fantastic. And just again for our viewers, AI SaaS. What is the? I mean, no, AI stands for artificial intelligence, but SaaS. What is it? What is that?
Yeah, so SaaS is an acronym for software as a service.
Okay,
And an example of that would be, say, like a subscription for, I don't know, maybe like OpenAI's ChatGPT, for example. Like you pay monthly subscriptions, and we're currently working on that model as well.
fantastic, fantastic. Yitian, it's been a pleasure talking to you. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there for our viewers, and definitely the whole cutting edge, I suppose, of AI and how to employ it in business, which is a big question going on, certainly with my clients. It's been fantastic to listen to you on that point. So listen, thanks again.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin, for having me here. Thank you so much.